Inside a bleak intensive care unit, a mother lies in a coma surrounded by the IV monitors and IV drips. Her teenage daughter pulls up a chair, leans close, and prepares to deliver what she is certain will be the ultimate good news, the one thing guaranteed to wake her up. She whispers that she has finally achieved her mother's current goal weight for her. She is exactly 89 pounds. She leans back, crosses her legs, and waits for the miracle. It never comes. To understand a logic that twisted, you have to go back to when the daughter was 2 years old. That is when the mother was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. From that moment on, the household existed in a state of suspended animation. The looming threat of death turned the atmosphere into a perpetual anxiety-ridden held breath, where every action was weighed against the mother's fragility. Surviving an environment like that requires adaptation. The daughter learned to merge her identity with her mother's survival trading personal autonomy for the hope of keeping the family intact. The mother capitalized on this psychological dependency, pushing her daughter into a grueling acting career, a path the daughter never wanted, but one that fulfilled the mother's own failed Hollywood dreams. This created a flawless psychological trap. The daughter firmly believed that her success on camera was the literal mechanism keeping her sick mother alive and happy. This dynamic makes it nearly impossible to distinguish between personal ambition and a survival response. If you have ever achieved a major goal only to feel a sense of relief rather than joy, you may be fulfilling an unhealed expectation rather than your own desire. When your entire existence is structured as a curated performance designed to sustain someone else, you simply never learn how to exist for yourself. The control eventually escalated from the emotional to the physical. Terrified that her daughter would age out of child roles, the mother introduced her to severe calorie restriction at the age of 11. The strategy yielded massive external success. She started booking series regular roles on hit network television shows, locking her firmly into the highly visible child star machine. This created a paradox of golden handcuffs. The consistent paychecks provided total financial stability for her family, which eliminated any realistic chance of walking away from the toxic environment at home. The pressure reached a breaking point. To cope with a grueling production schedule and intense public scrutiny, her anorexia mutated into severe bulimia. Coping mechanisms adopted for sheer survival have a tendency to evolve. Over time, they can become a completely different, destructive psychological prison. The inevitable eventually happens. The mother dies. But instead of immediate relief, the daughter is paralyzed by a total terrifying numbness. Her grieving process becomes deeply twisted. She doubles down on her eating disorders, using them as a misguided way to honor her dead mother's lifelong obsession with her body size. Then comes a betrayal that shatters her reality entirely. She discovers that her mother had lied about the identity of her real father for her entire life. When the core of your history is revealed as a lie, every habit used to numb that pain becomes a target for evaluation. Reclaiming yourself starts with identifying the specific emotions those daily habits are helping you avoid. This is the core crisis of enmeshment. When the architect of your identity dies and leaves behind a web of lies, you are left completely devoid of a self. During a therapy session, a specialist shatters the illusion. The devoted mother archetype collapses under the weight of the facts, replaced by the clinical reality of abuse. Acknowledging this harsh new reality requires completely destroying the false, fragile foundation that her entire life was built upon. The tactical mechanics of recovery are grueling. It involves normalizing eating by committing to 3 full meals a day and tracking emotional triggers instead of counting calories. This flowchart illustrates a vital concept: slips versus slides. After a mistake, you can take the red path, a shame spiral leading to a full slide, or the green path of acceptance. Dissolving that shame breaks the destructive cycle. True recovery is not about never making mistakes. It is about removing the paralyzing shame that weaponizes those mistakes against you. Internal healing comes with a steep external cost. By finally focusing on her own recovery, she naturally outgrows and must cut ties with codependent partners she had previously tried to fix. You can apply this immediately to stop your own shame spirals. Start labeling your mistakes simply as slips, examining the error without adding the weight of self-hatred to it. This journey culminates in a final confrontation. She visits her mother's grave and sits cross-legged, staring at the long list of romanticized adjectives carved into the headstone. There is an intense societal demand to romanticize mothers, treating them as angels regardless of their actions. That demand sits in stark contrast to the abusive reality she actually lived through. True healing demands the courage to stop romanticizing toxic relationships, dismantle false identities, and finally start living unapologetically for yourself.